Mike McCool here in the Royal Examiner Studio, and with me today is Melanie Hotek. We know Melanie from all the great things she does at the library, but she's also she's the president of the Tree Stewards. And with her is Lisa Schwartz. Lisa is the president of the, let's see what it's called, Beautification Front Royal Committee.
Correct.
We always think of her when we talk about the hanging baskets we see all around town. You know, people love those things.
Well, this year it was funny because we've been doing it for a number of years. And this year, the two gentlemen, John and Alan from the town, and myself and Corinne Llewellyn, we were there planting the baskets about a week and a half ago.
Right.
And then they hung them last Friday.
Right.
So hopefully everybody will go down there and enjoy them.
You know,
They get more beautiful as the
It's
time
funny
goes
that
on.
just like these 2 or 3 little flowers in this big old basket, and John, he loves this job, I think.
I know
he just
he does.
loves doing that because he spends a lot of time on that. And I've talked to him, and he says, but I said, in just a matter of a few weeks, we've got these flowers just hanging and drooping everywhere, and they're so pretty.
It's fun to watch because
It
just
is.
slowly they start to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
And all of a sudden, I said, what do you got in that? Oh, we got a little bit of Miracle Grow.
Yeah.
Literally, Miracle Grow. You know, because whatever you're feeding them flowers, but you know, and I'm thinking,
Yeah, they should share that secret with the rest
they
of us.
do. I know.
He did tell a funny story that some woman was walking down the street and asked him, "What's your special formula?" He said, "It's a secret."
Yeah,
Not telling.
starts with water.
Yes, water it every other day.
All right. So, what are the Tree Stewards and the Beautification Committee got planned? Something's going on this Saturday, or so much going on Saturday.
There is.
So, why don't you tell us, Melanie? And then you
I
guys
know
jump
the
in.
wine and craft festival is going
Right.
on, but if you're interested in learning about trees, we really want to let everybody know that Saturday, May 21st, we're having at 10 o'clock. It's a joint collaboration with the library and the Friends, and Ron Perlick, who's a certified arborist, and he's been a tree steward for over 10 years, is going to be doing basics of pruning.
Okay.
So this is a great time for everybody. Everybody's thinking about their gardens
Right.
and their trees, and so it's a nice class. We're going to do. He's going to give a presentation for about an hour, and then we're going to go around the library and actually hands-on prune trees.
There you go.
And-
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and help people.
Don't cut here, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If you know, I just published 2 stories about pruning and keeping your bushes and pruning, how to prune, when to prune.
When to
you know.
prune, yes.
And all I remember is, what do they call that? Dead root or something about, you want to take your rose bushes, when you can take them right out of the ground with no dirt ball or anything, just roots, and you leave them there, and all of a sudden...
Oh, bare root.
Bare root, that's
Yeah,
what it is. It's been
yeah.
so long since I've done that. And I thought, really, you can do that? Yeah, only at a certain time of the year.
Yeah, I know.
And you have to be very careful when you prune because sometimes pruning in the spring is not good because you cut off the blooms.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, yeah. You have to wait till things bloom.
But I can remember, though, they'd cut these trees down and just right to... the town got after, I can't remember the man's name, planted these trees, and they were on town property, He said, I've been cutting them trees for 50 years, but he cut them things down, and they got all like, oh, you don't know how to prune them? Those things look beautiful today, you know what I mean? So, if you know what he said, I've been pruning them trees for 50 years, And, but,
well, we have a campaign to have people not top their trees.
Right.
So that's not healthy. Your tree
No.
will eventually die because you're opening it up to infection.
Right.
But so there are right ways and
there's a
wrong
right
ways
way,
to prune.
but pruning,
Yeah.
It makes them grow.
Yes.
I mean, if you think of all the things that we do that are pruned, it's part of the process of harvesting and growing crops and things.
Yeah.
Things are pruned. you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
You prune them and then it sends out growth.
Yeah.
They want to grow more.
Maybe that works in your life too. Some things need to be pruned. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
We call that clutter. All right. So what's this event on Saturday?
So Saturday is the program, and we're
What are you going to do? I mean,
joint. So it's a joint program with the
I
library.
know what you're. See, I done forgot already. You're going to go to this library
This
thing, but
is-
that's all you're going to do?
Well, we're at the library, and then he'll do a presentation, and then we're going to go outside and actually prune trees.
Right.
So it's a program. It's an educational program. So the tree stewards have done for many years an All About Trees class. And we found that between COVID and the trend of people working from home, that they don't want to come to a class every week. So we're having these mini events
Right.
that are the educational pieces of the class so that eventually they can become a tree steward or just, use the information around their own home and their own
I
property.
knew they're just more involved. Whenever you're involved in something, there's always and here's the rest of the story. That's what I was trying to get a little more out of you. I'm
Right,
thinking,
right.
I know there's more involved because
Yeah.
you don't bring your partner here with you unless you got something else planned.
So Lisa and I are both working on the collaborating with the town and with ESAC and the anti-litter campaign.
Yes, uh-huh.
And we met and we walked the property over by Martin's shopping center and then submitted a letter to them, and the management has approved. So we're going to be planting trees along the sidewalk by the road
Right.
on either side. So the piece of the Royal Shenandoah Greenway, we're gonna plant there. So that's a nice collaborative thing that we're doing.
And the one thing is with the beautification, we basically administer the memorial tree program, and this is where if anybody has a loved one or someone special that they want a memorial tree planted for, they contact us and we do that. So we have a number of trees that we need to plant, and those will be some of the trees that we plant along the greenway where Truist is today. So that should be really nice once we get everything in, and there'll be flowering trees, so it'll be really pretty.
We did something like that at our church one year, years ago. We said, everybody bring all their problems. They had this hole dug out there, and you take all your problems, just put it in that hole, and then we planted a tree on top of it. That
There you
tree
go.
just grew like crazy.
What a great idea! I love that idea.
So it's kind of like the same thing. So whenever you walk by this tree, I said, there's your problem. That tree's got your problems, and it's taken care of, and you don't have to worry about them anymore.
Right.
Well, any excuse to
Yeah,
let
yeah.
people realize that we can remember someone, and that's a great way to do it. It's a living memorial.
And there's a certificate that goes into the Heritage Society that basically says this tree was planted on this date for this person.
Yeah.
So there's a remembrance.
Yeah,
They keep records of all that.
yeah, it's amazing. I mean, people. They name the star after something, all
Yeah.
sorts of things. But people, want to have some sort of a memorial of someone, and it's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
And you feel like you just didn't disappear. I mean, there's something left.
Yes.
And it's good. It's good to do that.
So we're back working at the Arboretum, and you'll see a few memorial trees along the Greenway and the Arboretum. And so between us, both groups are planting memorial trees.
How many trees are we going to plant at the amphitheater?
We will be planting in the
figured-
fall.
I thought you were going to come in and tell me about all these beautiful flowers. We're going to have a flower garden around the amphitheater at the library, and construction is starting
Yes.
tomorrow. And
We're still working all that out. Yeah,
okay.
the
Well,
plans.
she'll be back to tell us
I'll
about
be
that.
back.
That's going to be a cool.
I'll be back for the
But
amphitheater.
that's a cool project.
That's a great
And
project.
we have the
Yeah.
amphitheater over there, and then the master gardeners are actually looking at putting in a pollinator garden at the library. So
Yes.
there'll be a lot of activity
Yes.
going on there.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's
Yeah.
just, and I tell people all the time, we have so many things in our community. It's just the right size where people can still be involved. And we had that volunteer fair
Yes.
at the library.
We were there for that.
But there's so many places you can volunteer and find something to do,
Right.
and without a big commitment.
Right.
And I'm glad you're saying that because we're both looking for volunteers.
Both
So
looking for
if-
volunteers.
Yeah, so if anyone's interested in helping out with the beautification of Front Royal Committee or with the tree stewards,
What you do is you walk around town and just look at people's fingernails. And
Yeah,
if they
who's
got
got-
dirt in there, you say, "Hey, we need you." You already love doing it.
That's
come,
right.
and it's true. Anytime you want to come and plant flowers in my front yard, it's you're welcome to come
Okay.
on by and dig holes. That's all right. But no, it's seriously there's all sorts of community projects like that we could possibly start. I say that in jest, but there's
Yeah.
places like on some of our streets and people's homes that they're elderly, they can't really do things, and
Yes.
we're looking for something to do. And I'm
Right.
sure you can. People,
Yeah.
I'm planning another project for you to
Yes,
do.
that's
but I mean,
right.
there's all sorts of things you can help people do things. You might not want to do it on an ongoing basis, but hey. Ask your neighbor. That's what someone did. That's how we did one time. I really want to. I'm looking at your flower bed and it's empty. I'm going to come over next week and work in that. Is that okay? I said, sure.
so something, a new initiative, well, it's not really new. We started it before COVID and then we kind of stopped it. But beautification is looking at doing some landscaping at the elementary schools. So we're working with the county, and we're trying to resurrect that. One of the tree stewards put together a plan for one of the schools, and we're going to try to resurrect that and do some plantings
Right.
to basically increase the canopy cover.
Right.
Yeah.
I just don't want any
also-
more of those ornamental pear
Pears.
trees.
Oh no, we don't even talk about those. we try to stick to natives and,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
try not to invite any invasive kind
We
of
don't
species.
need any more pollens than we
No.
we want the right kind of pollens. You know,
Yeah.
I learned about that. You talk about we pollinators. When I lived out in Arizona, I didn't realize that they called fur bear pollens. You know, the animals carry the pollens around, and then we come back east. They got airborne pollens and
Yeah.
bees and different kind of things.
Sure.
And different kind of plants get their pollen from different ways. I mean, who
And
thinks
there's
about things?
and there's
Yeah.
some plants that bloom at night, and you have
Yeah.
moths and bats that pollinate. So
Yeah,
it's really
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a highlight of. We're going to the Garden Fest at Belgrove. The Master Gardeners put it on, so we'll be there with a booth. And their focus for the kids is on insects and the pollinating insects. So we'll have a game for the kids and prizes that are insect related.
Yeah, yeah. All we would think about insects is kill them things, but really,
No.
we really
There's some good ones.
There are some good ones, and we don't even the bacteria. There's good and bad, and you can't have one without the other, and it all kind of it's a life cycle that we have, and there's a whole life beyond what we can see.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's like they say, turn the light on in the kitchen and see what kind of creatures you have in your house at 2:00 in the morning. Things you don't want to know about.
Right.
That's true.
But it's interesting but people do love the thing. Talk about the tree canopy. I know we end up getting some. You don't think about a tree canopy. We live in the middle of the forest. I mean, we
Yes.
need more trees.
Need more trees.
More
Our-
trees are planted now than we cut down. I read that the other day. One of our useless information things I have, but we don't realize how the trees, all the different things that come out of our forestry industry that are made that we probably don't even realize what it was. I read a little tidbit of useless information the other day about long time, like in the 1700s, where they growing trees for masts of ship, but it took 250 years to grow the trees, and by the time they got ready to harvest the trees when they matured, they were already in the industrial age building steamships. So some of these projects it takes a long time
Yeah,
to have a
a long time.
renewable energy source,
Yes.
and but it's amazing, so much stuff, and nothing is wasted in a tree. I mean, every section of it, when they're cut down and used, you think, well, we got the logs that are burnt, but it's kind of like chickens, everything but the cluck, is used, and trees are the same way.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They're one of our great allies.
Yeah.
It's great. We just don't think about them because we see them everywhere. But
Right.
And the thing is, the trees really bring the temperature down too, because think about when you go like towards DC and you get in the area
Oh.
where there's all this pavement, the temperature is like
Oh, I was down
a
there.
number of
the-
degrees
Right.
I was
higher
down
than-
there the other day. I actually had to roll my sleeves up. I was sweating
So
down
hot
there.
already, yeah.
And it didn't take long once I got back into
Yeah.
where the canopy was, and
Yeah.
you can see how much cooler.
Well, there was a report by the Department of Forestry that the county is down on its tree canopy. We had all that development on Leech Run Parkway. They
Right.
took down a lot of trees. So we're trying to plant more trees and make up for where we were at one point. So, and it's nice working with Jim Osborne, the new
Right,
town arborist,
right.
because his goal is, if we take a tree down,
Got to put two back, right?
right,
Yeah. Yeah.
plant more trees. So.
Yeah. You see, I planted trees here in my studio.
Yes, they're
grow-
thriving.
They're thriving. That's kind of a shame because that's where we've gone in our homes. I can remember the different kind of plants. You used to have house plants, and I met a lady at the. I said they were selling them at the DL Community Market. She had a bunch of succulents,
Yeah.
and she said, "Yeah, she's a crazy houseplant lady." Her daughter was there helping her too. But yeah, we used to have that, and so you had that fresher air, so to speak.
Yes. It's good to have plants in your house.
It is. It's good.
Yeah, it helps.
Also,
Yeah. Well, also wanted to let you know that there's going to be a press release coming out, if not already, but the ESAC committee and Jim and the town are all going to be working on the Happy Creek area.
Right.
That
right.
was a point of some contention there for a while. But they're going to mark off the trees to keep. that are starting to come back.
Right.
And then they're going to take out the invasives and the and some lesser trees that we don't, want there, and then start a plan to regrow and plant new trees.
Right.
So
I think-
it's happening.
Yeah,
It's going to
and
be
that area
fixed.
is, like you say, sometimes you have some scars that need to be healed before you can see the results of. It's kind of like plastic surgery. It looks really bad, but then after everything heals up, it looks pretty good. You know what I mean? So I think that's the case of our these areas in town that we had some scars, and I think if we can get back and get people working
Yep.
together instead of apart, then things will start to come
Yeah.
back in shape. And it takes time. It doesn't,
Yeah.
can't grow a tree overnight, And,
No, so people will be seeing some work over there, but it's going to be planned and good.
right,
So
good. And everybody's
yeah.
on the same page.
Everybody's on the same page.
Well, that's a good thing to
They're-
hear because that's I
It's
think
transparent now, and they're letting people
People
know
wanted-
what's happening.
that's really what aggravates. It's not what people do. It's that you just tried. Did you try to do it
It's the
without
communication.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
communication, the transparency. Even if people don't agree with it, as long as they kind of know what's going on. Well, I wouldn't have done it that way, but that's okay
Yeah.
because they're part of the process.
Yeah.
And I think that is so hard, because the community gets bigger. Our circle of
Yeah.
influence gets bigger, and next thing you know, we've got someone mad at somebody.
Yeah,
So
and
we don't
it's
wanna do that.
thoughtful planning so that the we can work on the riparian buffer zones,
Right.
and the creek will be treated, the way it should be to make it better. And
It's like our river banks and things, they don't realize that the grass died. I was talking to someone, well, we don't notice it. I don't use the river, I do, I drink it,
Yeah.
But we don't think about the grass dry. Well, what kind of grass dry? Well, because they didn't, it's a whole process of where things,
There's a science.
There's a science
There's a
behind
science
it,
behind
and
it.
there's a cycle. And, what you do over here affects, that's like we have that big Chesapeake Bay water thing, just because you're over here 100 miles away, you're affecting that thing over here.
Absolutely. And we're part of that.
Yeah.
The Shenandoah River, Happy Creek, all of it is all
Well, I
part
always
of
tell me we're
Chesapeake
drinking that
Bay.
Luray water, Luray sewer, or whatever it is. What I mean? We don't think about where that river came from.
I know it. Absolutely.
But it's a cycle, and that's why all these things are important. And again, very appreciated. I know that you're very active, all of you in the community,
Yeah.
and helps every little piece helps make our community that much better. And
Yeah.
you don't realize, when those trails started and all the things, people, but you know what? More and more people are using those areas of
Yeah.
town and walking and taking their kids, and the library's done stuff, and everybody,
Yeah.
it's kind of like if you're out there, you say, wow, there's people actually out here
Doing things.
Yeah, it's like our dog park. I thought, dog park, you need a dog park. Just
Yeah.
walking down the street. Man, there's literally hundreds of people at the dog park.
Yes, and that whole path, part of the Easton Park,
Yeah,
part of the Greenway
yeah.
is so well traveled.
Well traveled.
And the Arboretum, people should go to the Arboretum right now. It looks especially great. We've mulched it, we've pruned it. The irises are in full bloom. It's just
Yeah.
gorgeous little strip of the Greenway right now.
Yeah, just don't let only a few people enjoy it. We need to get out there and
that's
realize.
well traveled.
Yeah.
Yeah, people
Yeah.
walking their dogs and going for a walk. And
Well, another thing going on this weekend, that Saturday, what you'll see this at the library, at AS Rhodes, the children there did their enrichment program, gifted enrichment something, resource. They got new names for it, but they have taken the kids. I just interviewed them yesterday. I'll put that story up, so watch that. It's very interesting, and talks about the same thing where the kids were able to pick something in town that they loved and made it special.
Yes.
And then they researched it.
yes.
And different buildings or people or places or whatever it
Right,
was.
right.
And just talking to those 3 kids yesterday, 5th graders, you could tell that they really got into it and they found something about their community.
Yes.
And it's just like these things. I mean,
I think it's more than AS Roads because my granddaughter goes to Rusty Jeffries.
Right, and they're-
She's doing it too.
Oh.
There's going to be a special presentation. And
Yeah, right,
She's
right.
in 5th grade.
right, so they
Yeah.
did this thing. They did 3D models of different things.
Yeah.
So it was a big thing. It was a year-long project.
Yeah.
And so we'll see how that goes on. That's on Saturday afternoon at the Pavilion.
Good.
Down there in
Good.
the afternoon. So there's so much going on
So
in our
much,
community.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
going to be it's going to be a big busy weekend.
Yeah.
And the weather's going to be beautiful.
Well, it's going to be beautiful.
So, rain or shine, are we going to prune trees?
And we thank you because you are bringing all these collaborations and all the news to the people.
That's what we want to do.
We appreciate you.
We appreciate that, and we want people to tune in and subscribe, and it's one of our best resources in town. We just don't realize it. We don't take it for granted. Support our local sponsors that help keep this thing going, and
lots of people out there doing things.
And more people are coming in. So they said, I got to do a town talk. I said, okay, I need a town talk. Okay, so it takes time. But it's great. We appreciate everything that everyone does. They're starting to they did this little turn lane out in front of our office, and now they're back planting the plants again. And
good.
So they're really into it. It's great. When you drive into a community, first thing you look at is that median strip and that curb appeal. And when you're in a community and you're driving down a neighborhood, you look at the curb appeal, and it's important. Trees and flowers, and those flowers probably do more for our Main Street than any one thing we do.
And I think it gives people pride for the community.
It is, and it's the most simple thing.
And then tourists come in and they rave about the flowers.
They do that because they don't see it anywhere.
Right.
It's amazing. It's such a little thing. But don't realize how long and how hard that took to get that to accomplish. I mean,
the flowers and the greenway, so people have places to walk.
Right.
I mean, it's
just hanging in baskets on the pole wasn't an easy thing to accomplish. To get everybody to sign off. The lawyers get involved. It's a whole. It's just amazing whenever you're working on the public property.
Make it harder than it needs to be.
It is just like, well, that's a great idea. Go ahead and do it. That's how I will.
I know it's easy to hang a basket, but not really.
It's not as easy as it looks. But we appreciate all the hard work people that you do and your other voluntold.
Yes, I love that
Remember,
word.
if you want something to do, get a hold of these. I'll put the links to their website and their contact information here in the story, and you'll be able to get hold of Lisa.
And Saturday, May 21st, this Saturday is a program at the library, and June 11th is one on tree ID.
So we didn't talk about June 11th.
No,
but we'll
we've
talk
had
about
a lot
that.
to talk about.
There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's all going on in our community, and you can be a part of it. So put some time aside for this weekend. Head over to the library, and that starts at what time?
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. You'll still have time to go to the Wine and Craft Festival. Run over to the library, sign up for that first, and that's kind of an interesting thing. See how much it is.
I'll give you my pruner, and you can get out there and actually learn how to do it.
Yeah,
So.
with a little guidance.
That's right.
Don't turn them loose.
No, I'll stand right there by you, but we need you, so
All right.
come and
Again,
volunteer.
Melanie, thanks, Lisa, and everything for coming in. I really appreciate it.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate it.